I'm so used to the countdown.
Right.
I know.
Yeah. Let's get our face up. It's time for a faith jump. Only better time, and you'll be there in no time. There is no limit, not even the sky, the sky. Just tell your fears bye-bye. Let's get our face up. It's time for a faith jump. Only better time, and you'll be there in no time. There is no limit, not even the sky, the sky. Just tell your fears bye-bye, bye-bye. I'ma take it higher like never before. Yeah, past the clouds, past the bitches, past where the eagle soar. The sky is the sun, the storm is the floor. Yeah, and I can see the thunder crackling, I hear a roar. The more I elevate, the more I just don't have to fear. God is my aviator, so my terror disappears. I'm not afraid of falling, cause I know my God is here. And I can see things vividly and so crystal clear. It's like I'm jumping out of airplanes with no parachute. I hope I land up on a cloud, what your wings would do. And as I fall, then it's feeling like it's light speed. Man, I'm so high up here. Man, I can see my house. Well, time to jump though. La 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 la. Yeah. Alright, let's go in. Yeah. Take me now like I can soar with you, God, with you, God. Take me higher than before. Hold my hand now, don't let me go now. Show me things I never saw. Take me higher, take me higher. Take me out so I can soar with you, God, with you, God. My life, where I want to see the greatness, even if for me running towards where I got to face with the boat, I got to face it with the courage, push past that opposition, head towards that cliff now, which man, I never got to make a decision. I know I got to jump in the fierce to insist, and I'm fierce on this, like I'm stuck on a fence situation.
Well, I could play that whole song. That's all right with me.
Right.
And I don't do too much like gospel rap, but I like that one.
Right.
Yeah, Bob, that's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on Self Checkout. This is a special show. This is our Thanksgiving show, and I have some lovely, lovely ladies on with me tonight, and we're going to have so much fun. I do want you to know that the artist that you just heard is, I call him J Hawk. His name is Jonathan Hawkins, and he is a member of
Oh,
Salvation
nice.
That was his.
International. Shout out to J Hawk. That's
All
good
right.
music.
That's good stuff, right?
Nice.
They didn't
Nice.
I thought it was him. Nice.
Yeah, that is him. That is him. So he is. That was his music, and I will be featuring more of his music in the weeks to come. So please, please, please. I believe J Hawk, he's in here. He can tell us how we can get his music.
Yes. Oh.
I really enjoyed that. If y'all know me, y'all know I don't like gospel rap. That's just a personal preference for me. But I like that.
That was nice.
And I'm supporting him. So definitely let's support him. I want to say good evening to my mom. She's always on. Hey, mama.
Hey, Mama.
Hey.
Her favorite.
She is my favorite girl and my biggest cheerleader. Hey, mom, I love you. Hey, Danielle Chapman.
Hey,
Also,
girl.
hey, Danielle, Tiffany. Hey. Good
Hey,
evening,
everybody.
everybody. Like, love, share. That's what we do here on Self Checkout. And of course, this is the show where we take an honest look at what's in our hearts, minds, and spirits. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight I have the host of an up and coming best virtual talk show.
Go.
Whatever else I can think of. But my friends and my sisters, are here with me tonight, and I'm super excited to have them. I've been wanting them on ever since I started. They are Melanie Stewart, Tabitha Johnson, and Dr. Nancie Murphy. I'm so grateful. Hey, y'all.
Hello. Good
Hi.
evening. Good evening.
What's up?
Oh my God, this has been a long time coming.
Right. Yeah.
This has definitely been a long time coming. So I'm super excited to have you guys on. I know you all are very, very busy. So thank you so much for stopping by self checkout tonight. Melanie, I was talking with you before we came on. You still busy?
Still. Just pray my strength in the Lord.
You're still driving and flying everywhere.
Work wise, work related. Let the people know.
Of course, work related, yeah.
Let the people know. Right.
Hey, Mimi, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tabitha, what's going on with you?
With me, for the immediate moment, I am looking for the best way to create a lamb chop, to work on lamb chop.
Okay.
So yeah, working on that for Thursday. And I flew in trying to do the last of my grocery pickup. I'll be finishing that out tomorrow. I took the day off so that I can get my food together and just have our own little. We're doing the local thing. We're gonna stay safe.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay home.
Yeah.
And so I'll try out my dishes on my baby, on my baby girl.
Listen, it's just gonna be me and my mom, my niece and my nephew. I told them y'all come over, y'all can get a plate, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.
I love everybody. I love my family. I want to spend time with them, but right now, I'm sorry, it's just not safe. Because my nieces and nephews, they're younger, obviously. They're in their 20s. My oldest nephew is 34, I think. But they young, they on the go. They always gone somewhere. And wherever you been, keep it over there.
Keep it over there.
Come
Right.
with your mask and leave with your plate. Love it.
Yeah.
Before I get to Dr. Nancie, as you see, I put my mom's comment on the screen. I will get to all of them. And if you look at her profile picture, it is a picture of my brother. My brother has gone to heaven, and today would have been his 53rd birthday.
Happy
Birthday.
Happy heavenly birthday.
Yeah, love forever, love forever. So yeah, Dr. Nancie, how's it going?
Great. I have no complaints.
I'm so glad you guys are here. And this is my Thanksgiving show. And I am Mimi said, look at all these beautiful people on one panel. Yes, especially me.
Okay.
Okay, but this is my Thanksgiving show, and my top choice question tonight, before we get into our main discussion, my top choice question tonight for you ladies and for you all that are watching, and also let me not forget to say thank you to those who are gonna watch this replay. Hello to all of you all. When you watch, please leave a comment and let me know that you did view. I appreciate you. Tonight, our top choice question, ladies. And those of you who are viewing, I want to see you answer in the comments as well. If you had to watch your turkey or pig get slaughtered and prepped for sale, would you eat it for Thanksgiving? Because mostly everybody in America is going to have either turkey or ham.
Yeah.
Right up Melanie Valley.
And we know it's the process because those animals were once alive.
Yeah.
They died so that we could live. Amen. But if you had to watch the process from beginning to end, would you still eat it?
Yes.
You would. That would not bother you.
It's what I do every day. Yes.
Right up her alley.
That's all her.
Right up. We have heard the stories.
No.
From the cow to the pig to the whatever.
I go to slaughterhouses, so yeah.
Not me.
So yeah,
I couldn't do it.
Well, I could.
I'm kind of on the fence myself. I'm like, man, I don't know if I had to watch this turkey get killed and skint and
Yeah, I'm gonna bring them home and I'm gonna wash them. Rinse them off real good, season them up real nicely, and add them on in some grease.
So
I don't think
we got 2 no's and 2 yeses. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. And speaking of comments, Dr. Nancie, your favorite guy is ready for you tonight.
Just go ahead and mute him, please. And trust me, the heartbeat. Come here, honey. Say hi real quick. Did you think he was fired? He's not. Look at that, huh?
Hey, all right, good night.
Don't try it. Don't try it.
Tabitha, he ready for you too.
So we coming for everybody tonight? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I think so. He got all 3 of y'all tonight.
Can we ban people tonight? That's all I'm asking.
He'll be at the top of the list.
He said, Tabby, where your birth at?
I'm there. This is funny because I never go without anything on my neck. And today I went ahead and took I don't know. I just did it tonight. You'll always see me in earrings or something around my neck, but this time I didn't do it.
Melanie, here's yours.
Right. Look, I answered them back. It was prepared medium, and by the time I drove home, it was perfectly cooked. Okay, it still cooks while it's resting. Y'all gotta know that. Eat these steaks the right way.
Oh my God. So let's see. Let's look at our comments here. Tiffany said, absolutely, ain't no way she could eat it after watching it be killed.
Funny.
Mama said, not me. Mama can't do it. Nope. Mimi said, no, period.
I can't do it. Yeah.
Danielle says, listen, sacrificial offering. I've seen worse in the medical field.
See? She knows.
Oh boy. Good evening, Denise Dunn from SDMI. Thank you. All the SDMI jumping in here tonight. We appreciate you guys so much. So yeah, it looks like the majority of the people say no, but we got a few yeses here and there. So that was funny. I said I was going to ask that tonight. I think I'm going to ask it on Facebook tomorrow. That's a random question. So tonight I have you ladies on here to talk about resentment. It's been all in the family month here on Self Checkout, and I've been dealing with family related issues. And one of the issues that a lot of families deal with is resentment in relation to the mother-child or the parent-child relationship. So I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Before we do, everybody, if you don't know, these ladies are the hosts of the book. That's what the show is called, and it is amazing. I'm on it each and every doggone week because I live for the topics that they come up with, and we dialogue and we share each other's views and thoughts on different topics. And it's always topped off with the book, the Bible. It's always biblical clarity and principles. And Tabitha, this was your vision?
Yes.
So tell us how it came about.
Well, it was interesting. I was these things just I always, these concepts come out of nowhere with me sometimes, and it's always a challenge for me to actually, put something into motion. But I got this confirmation in particular from my mom. I was having a conversation with my mom, the evangelist missionary Maddie McGee Johnson, and she was, it was one of those situations where, as usual, she's breaking down knowledge and everything, as far as where we are, and just as far as in Christ and what our stand should be, so on and so forth. And so, long story short, she said something that was so, it's something we know, but when you hear it, it's just like, ooh, aha moment or whatever. She said, you know what? At the end of the day, there's so much confusion in the world, and there's so many things that can be said. But at the end of the day, the only truth that exists is in the book. And when she said that, it just kind of, it pushed me back. I was just like, ooh, she gave me that
Leave it to John. Leave it to John.
I'm not fooling with him tonight. I'm not fooling with John tonight. But when she said that, it was so funny. It was just, it was one of those things that stuck with me. And literally immediately, just, the thoughts start to develop as far as going into the book and knowing different things that we should know, and just some of the things that, and we kind of give our, meaning every single week, how the world is in such search of real truth right now with so many different things going on. And we have so many different translations. We already know from the old school to the new school. We argue that some things have been watered down. We have different opinions and all of that. But at the end of the day, in a year, especially like this, we need truth. We need something of security that can keep our faith going. And so that's where it came from. I just started kind of spouting out some stuff and writing some things down. And these ladies, we talk to each other on a regular basis. We bounce things back and forth, and we debate things, and talk about biblical things. And it was so interesting. Literally that next morning, when we were talking, and we started going into one of those deep conversations, and we literally started going there about the scripture and the truth and all of that. And I said, okay, this feels like some type of confirmation going on. And so when I think I may have gotten 2 sentences out about the concept, and they were like, oh no, yeah, absolutely, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And it literally took off from there. So
how can my viewers check out you guys' show?
we do have Facebook page. You can find us by simply looking up the book on Facebook, or you can of course type in the @ the book rules as all one word, and that'll bring you to our page as well. We have YouTube that has a recording, all of our previous recordings, so you can view them there as well. But that's where you can find us as a group. Of course, we all have our individual pages, but when you want to talk about the book, that's where we are. And also, I'll take what John is saying.
I'm not going to kill John.
I'll go block him.
Sooner than later, okay?
Block him. But that's also part of the concept, being that, as many know, Nancie is a pastor. She's coming from a place of, covering as far as leadership. So she covers many. And Melanie, she operates in leadership as well. She's one of the leaders in her ministry. And then myself, I'm a former leader, but right now I'm just kind of a lay member and just an influencer on the outside. So I feel like, with that being said, and also Nancie's married, Melanie's single, and I'm a single mom. So we have like all of these different experiences that we're bringing, and the challenge every week is to bring whatever the topic of the week is, whatever the hot topic, we bring it, and the challenge is to bring the answer, take it to the book. We're trying to find the answer. So it's a challenge with us and our audience. So it's not like we always have the answer. We're all getting it together.
I enjoy it, and everybody that I know, they enjoy the show as well. Charlotte saying y'all wear some cool t-shirts too. Y'all do. Y'all have your t-shirts on. I'm repping. I have a t-shirt on tonight. I'm repping Apostle R.J. Williams, Brand Faith Up tonight. Y'all, John, I'm not putting no more of your comments up here.
No, don't let them up no more.
Water like Melanie.
That's holy water, honey. You don't even know what that is. That water,
yes, absolutely. Every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, the book is on. I'm there. Some of us that are on tonight also watch the book, and I share it. So when I share it, I want you guys that are viewing, jump in with us. Let's have some fun with them every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Let's get into our conversation tonight. I sent you guys an article that I found was very, very interesting, and it was about Britney Spears and her father, James. And long story short, she doesn't want him to manage her anymore. We probably won't know the real reason behind what's going on between the two of them until later, probably. Eventually, it all comes out. But at this point, obviously, she has resentment towards her father. And it's to the point now, he's her manager, he handles her money and stuff like that. And now it's to the point where she said, I will not perform again as long as he's my manager. And she went on to say to the judge that she is afraid of her father.
Yeah.
So obviously there's some resentment there between the two of them. And I want to just get into this tonight. We would say that, I mean, if we heard her side of the story, of course, everybody's got their own version of what's happening. But we would say in our time, in our language today, that he doing too much. If in fact what she says is correct, we would say he's doing too much. But I want to ask, I'll start with you, Dr. Nancie. Is there a polite, respectful way to tell your parents you're doing too much?
Well, based off of the article that I read, it seems as though, and Brittany looks like she admitted to it as well in the article, she had been dealing with some life issues, if you will. And that's what initially caused her father to then seek the courts to be able to be no, y'all didn't read that way either?
No. We're looking at
something else.
Yeah, could you block John?
Go ahead with your
father, after she had some issues, that's what caused her father to then go to the court and to seek the court's assistance in order to be able to then manage his daughter, or not so much as manage her, but to just monitor what she was doing, to have some say so. And in light of that and all that goes on with mental health and or mental illness and life stresses in that regard, then do I believe that he did something wrong? No, he honestly was. And sometimes you have to be a parent to understand a parent position and what all a parent will do to cover their children.
Let me interrupt you right there. Let me interrupt you on that point that you just made.
Okay.
He is, well, obviously he's her father. He's also her manager. So my question is, as an adult, unless there's some kind of contractual agreement that says he has to remain her manager up until a certain date, can she not say, you're fired as my manager?
Okay, but see, again, we have to put all of this in perspective, because again, based off of the verbiage used in the ad or in the article, there we go. Based off the verbiage used in the article, it's not necessarily talking about him as a manager. It's talking about him, in layman's term, as her guardian. It's the guardian.
I was about to say the backstory to the. I mean, I'm a Britney fan. I still got her CDs. There's a backstory, and that's what Nancie's speaking on it from the article. I know the Britney story. He was not her manager of her music. He became the manager of her money and her estate.
Of her money.
Because Britney had.
I forgot the word that they use. Conservatorship.
Yeah, Britney had a breakdown and went a little haywire. So he became guardian, and that's what Nancie's pointing out, that there's a difference. Now I see that Pastor John mentioned about Destiny's Child. That's more of the manager of the business.
Two different roles.
So that's the one. If that's the angle you're coming from, then it's the Beyonce and Matthew thing versus Britney. Britney's is because she had a breakdown and he's managing her money and making sure she doesn't just go spend it all. And
not just her, but that she doesn't get taken advantage of as well.
Right,
and
right. But I'm saying that she doesn't spend it all.
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah. Right.
And I think also to tie that in with your question, as the ladies were saying, Brittany had proven herself not responsible. Different things that were going on. And I think that when you want to get into that position and say, okay, my parents are doing too much, or I want to find a way to tell them to back up, you have to show yourself.
You have to prove yourself, because now there are legalities in place.
That kind of speaks for you. So when you approach your parent and say, okay, I want to take this over from here, if you can back up or this, that, or whatever. You know, if you're not being responsible, the first thing they're going to say is, okay, so what are you going to do when I take my hands off? What's going to happen next? So that's the first step before you even go to the parent. It's like that. It's always a matter of proof, because we can always complain about, what our parent is doing and who's being overbearing and all of that. But until we can prove ourselves to be able to handle that weight, guess what? As parents, I can tell you, you're always going to want to come in and be that safety net. So you have to prove yourself. And granted, parents may go overboard, but you have to show something practical to be able to stand. Even if your parent doesn't agree, you need to have a leg to stand on when you come to them with that type of defense.
And
right,
then when
Pastor
it
John,
gets
she
to
had a breakdown.
disagree, when it has like Melanie, Tabitha said, even John is saying, now that the courts are involved, there's another layer to it. There's an added level of you approving yourself, because we read in the article the judge didn't even relinquish or close the case. The judge was like, no, this is going to stay there. It's going to stay put until you're able to prove. Well, her not singing, guess what? That's just putting the nail in the coffin. That's still saying,
yeah,
I'm not stable enough to handle this, because I'm responding as a child, throwing a tantrum. That's not helping any.
yeah.
So in the case of her, I would say as a parent, yes, I agree with what the father is doing.
So let's come down to non-rich people status. So what about us? Us regular folks. We
Are you
do
saying,
have,
what if your mom wanted to manage your money?
and let me be perfectly clear here.
Is that what
My
you're saying?
mother is not an overbearing mother. She is not. She's not that person. She does not overstep her boundaries at all in my adult life. She mothers me still, and she always will, but she respects my adulthood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now there are other parents. Every family dynamic is different.
Definitely.
And there are some parents who still insert themselves too much in their adult child's life. So that back to my question, for us regular folks, is there a way to respectfully say, "Mom, Dad, chill, y'all, I got this"?
There is a way. There is a way. And I think that a lot of times, again, just speaking from the parent aspect, we want to see our children do well. We want to see them succeed. We want to see them go further than we have. We want all their dreams and aspirations to. So, it's hard sometimes.
Would you say you want them to be made whole? You want them to be whole?
Yeah.
No, you put your cell phone.
But I mean, you want them to be whole. Just use your terminology. This is Nancie's terminology when it comes to kids. We've had
You know what?
discussions. I'm Nancie. Parents want their kids to be whole. Go ahead.
It's okay. I'm gonna back her up on this, because when I first heard Nancie say that, I was like, I want my child to be whole too. I went in on it too, so I got right on that whole bandwagon. I was okay with
true. You want them to be okay. You want to protect them. You
want them to be what, Nancie?
You want them to be whole. You want them to be whole. You want them to be all right. And yes, it sometimes it's hard, but yes, there is a point in time when if a parent oversteps their bounds, then yes, there is a point in time where you'll have to say, you know what, Mom, Dad, I've got this. I'm able to do it. You taught me. This is what you worked for all of these years.
I like that.
And you know what? It's hard, because now our mom, Melanie and myself, our mom is 81 now, right? Mm-hmm. My mom's 81. And so that's what I tell her now, that she has myself and she has Melanie to handle her daily affairs. And I tell my Mom, this is what you put into us down through the years. This is what you were investing into us. So now you're reaping the return on your investment. You've taught us. So allow us to handle your bills. Allow us to do the grocery shopping. Allow us to ensure that your home is clean and that you have what you need. Sit back, relax, and now you enjoy the ride, because that's the point that she's at now. And so, yeah, there is a time when you have to do that.
So that's your way of saying she's doing too much.
No, our mom ain't doing too much. She's not in our.
I'm saying that's a respectful way of saying.
Yes.
You don't have to do anything. We got you.
Right.
But what happens now? I want to go to Melanie. What happens when you have the parents that try to run their house and yours too?
Well, I think that's when you have to express that. My mom grew up with a saying that she paid the cost to be the boss. So when you're in your own home and you are financially taking care of everything, mentally handling everything, because it's not just financial to say you're grown.
Right.
You're mentally able to take care of it. You're financially able to take care of things, and you're able to move around like an adult. then if your parent is overbearing at that time and trying to tell you how to wash the dishes or how to lock the door or how to do this, then you have to say, Mom, this is my space. I got it.
I got it.
Your space, you do you. My space, I make the decisions over here. So I think it's just a calm way, and it's not always what, as the saying goes, it's not what you say, but how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part in it. And I can, for Nancie right now, Nancie has 2 that are grown and on their own. Tab has a 13-year-old that's getting ready to have her own set of thoughts. So I think Nancie runs into it from, she has grown children doing their own thing, and Tab is getting ready to have that teenager that she's gonna have to say, okay, I'm gonna let her do this, but I still need her to know that I'm there for her, and I don't want to speak for the 2 of them.
Now that's a whole nother thing, which is why I made it clear when I started posting about this. Is I'm talking more so adult children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because as a teenager, you gotta have the reins still.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta have the reins, but you gotta have some freedom too, I believe. I've been away from school and seen ones that don't have, that their parents had the reins so tight that they get out there and get wild. So I believe you need a little freedom.
Yeah. I've learned now, like Melanie said, she's 13 now. She just made 13 this year. And so I'm releasing some things, kind of testing, so to speak, to see how she responds in certain situations. So the things that I've had to teach her along the way, or the things that I've shown her through my actions, through demonstration or whatever, I want to see how she responds to things. I'll listen to her when she's on, well, now we're virtual. I'll kind of listen in on her Zoom call, see how she expresses herself. I've caught her doing things and I've been so impressed. And I'm going, I think she's going to be all right. It's just little things here and there you listen to. And like Melanie said, as time goes on, you have to trust what you did. You have to trust your work. You have to trust your upbringing of that kid. Mm-hmm. And they're definitely going to reflect you on. I mean, I think all of us can say that we reflect our parents somehow. They stand up in us somewhere. So you have to just, I have that interesting situation in which I'm watching, and then, if something goes left, I have to come in and say, okay, that's cool, but let me tell you what you need to try from this point, or let me tell you what I think went wrong. And this is interesting because teenagers, they're kind of, they believe what they know it all, but they don't.
I understand what you're saying really on the flip side of it. And I think a lot of times what happens is as the adult children, I don't want to say us, but as adult children or as children grow and go through, the different stages of life, from elementary or from adolescence to teenagers to pre-adult to adult, I think that a lot of times they haven't been given the tools. So when a parent can identify that child has not necessarily matured, or they know that they failed in areas, then that's when the door is like open for them to still intrude in those areas, in those spaces. So for example, if you've not taught your child how to manage their finances, if you've not taught your child how to maintain their home, if you've not taught your child about relationships, then it's easy for a parent to find a foothold in those areas in your life. And then once and sometimes some of us mature differently, and if you come into that space yourself and you're able to handle it, now you've got to figure out at this point how to get your parent out the way. And so that's where it comes into where you have to have that hard conversation to say, okay, I got this. So I think it's a double-edged sword, and I think that we kind of find ourselves in that position or in that place when the parent hasn't properly equipped the child to be the adult that they're supposed to be.
Mimi says, no, we're not doing that. You have your home, and I have mine. I respected your home as you are to respect mine. We have no issues in this area. And Jayhawk second that motion. And then John says, and if you did your best as a parent and taught them well and they still go awry, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. Right.
They just made different choices.
And you have to be okay with that.
Absolutely right.
And that's even hard though. But that's even hard. Yes, again, as a parent, if they go awry, or if they do things that you haven't taught them, then you still are like, oh my God, that's my child. That's my baby. I need to try to help them. How can I fix it? How can I help you? Because let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Jesus still does it to us. The Father still does it for us. There are areas we fall short and he still steps in and tries to help us make the repairs that we mess up, right? So a natural parent is going to do the same thing. And so
Tabitha, I want to start with you on our second question. How important is transparency in the family structure, mainly from parent to child?
Nice.
It is extremely important. Yeah, I've learned that. It is extremely important because I grew up in a household where there was no transparency. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I came out fine. I came out okay. However, I was one of those that was, sheltered and all of that. And then I went out and was just like, oh, freedom. And I went crazy. But at the same time, I was afraid to make certain things. So it's like when I made a mistake, I dropped. Like when I made a mistake, I tanked. And I had to slowly figure out how to bounce back. And I think that it would have been helpful for me, or at least that's a lesson I learned from my kid, to say, okay, this is a mistake I made. And it's okay. Understand, now you have to work on what's next. You have to work on how to bounce back. And that's the important thing that we have to teach our kids, not necessarily perfection, but just to be the best person you can be, and that things happen. Transparency is extremely important. Now, the balance to that is you have to make sure that child stays in their place. Like, this is a mistake that I've made. I did this, and I did this. However, this is where you are. This is your role. So even though I'm making these mistakes, I'm not asking you to go out there and do that same thing because you can't handle that right now. Yeah. So it's like you have to exude the lesson as well as your mistake. Yeah. That's where that balance has to be. Let them know, that's where you went wrong, and identify the issue, but let them know there's another side to that. There's a balance, and there's a way to avoid that. Yeah. And they need to see your resilience. They need to see your bounce back. They need to see that strength to know that's possible.
Definitely. I agree with Tabitha wholeheartedly. My children, and Melanie can tell you and attest to it, and now Tabitha can as well. My children know me inside and out. I don't have
literally. They like literally. She's very transparent. She's a transparent parent.
Yeah, I am. Very. They know my ups, my downs, my ins, my outs, my highs, my lows. There is not a secret. And whoever wants to judge me can, but I think that that's important because just like Tabitha, I promise you, I thought that my mother could do no wrong. Like, all my life, I just thought she was
making no mistakes.
Making no mistakes. She had no. But as I got older, once I became an adult and I had my own experiences, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. She just didn't give it up. She just wasn't transparent with it.
Yeah. But she was, but you got to understand the time. Again, when we grew up, there was a different time. Yeah. Different ways of discipline and different ways of rearing children. Whereas now there's our time when I raised my children, it was a different time. And so, that's the difference. So we appreciate the guarding that our parents did for us, but at the same time, this day and age, you better be talking to them. You better have conversations with them. You better be transparent, because if you're not, it's going to cost you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, did you, Dr. Nancie, did you become that transparent parent? Yeah. Did you become that transparent parent once your children got grown?
No,
you've always been like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I respect that. I like.
I've always been that way, and I'm telling you, my poor mother has cringed.
I've cringed.
Yeah, they've cringed. But I always told my children, and like Tabitha said, it's really important that they understand the differences. I've always told my children that I can be their parent and their friend. Depending upon the situation, it's going to dictate to me who I am. Am I your friend? Or am I your parent? And it even shocked my children as they were growing up. They would have different experiences in school. And Tammy's on here now, and I'm looking, and I'm the same way with even my godchildren. They know me inside out as well. And I don't keep anything from my godchildren. but you know, they would have different experiences at school, and I'll say to them, okay, well, what did you do? Well, what did you say? Like, give me the whole story, and they'd be like, tell you all of it. Tell me all of it, even the cuss words you said, because I know if Jackie cussed you out, you cussed Jackie out too. So what you said? And they'd be like, I can tell you, don't use the letters. I want to know exactly. What it does is it builds a relationship. It builds a bond, and it's so important.
I wanted to respond to, and I'm sorry, I didn't want to jump in, but I wanted to respond to kind of what Tammy's saying here about transparency, age appropriate.
Yeah,
I agree with that. It's just that at the same time, age appropriate, meaning you have to still think ahead. Because like Nancy was saying, in this day and time, these kids are learning, picking up things at school, you know, from some other kids that are on like a whole other level.
Man.
And so these kids, their innocence is being taken away much faster than ours was. So we have to be faster than that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to, you know, tell her about a boyfriend issue that I'm having or something like that. There's certain things you don't talk about. You know what I mean? Like me and my man, da 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 da. No, I'm not gonna.
Right.
Right. There's a borderline there somewhere. But as far as certain experiences, when you know that's something that's in their head or that's something it's creeping up in their area or in their room, you have to be quicker than that. You have to. You can't let them find out about, like for young ladies, you can't let them find out about cycles. If I can go just do that.
Yeah. And
let them find out about that kind of stuff on their own.
Come from. They need to know where
they
come from.
Know that
there's
stuff,
no
so you have to get ahead of the game. So it's almost strategic. You got to be ahead of the game so that these kids know, and they don't, you know, that they don't get the opinion of, you know, their classmates, because their classmates don't, you know, they think they know something, but they're talking from a whole nother level. John,
you know what? And you know what else? Here's the other thing. Because
where the roses came from. Now,
here's the other thing, Tab. Even with what you're saying and dealing with appropriate, you know, I'm just thinking. And one of my godchildren right now has a class in school where she has the responsibility of taking care of a baby.
Wow.
And that's not a new thing.
Now, do I think that that's age appropriate? No. However,
you got to be ahead of the game.
The school is dealing with it.
That's
so
right.
I commend her mom for being right in that, you know, in the pen, in the ring, right with her. Let's deal with this. Let me see what they're saying to you. Let me see what's going on. Okay, what are we doing with this baby today? Because guess what? Now mom is able to answer the questions that her little mind is going to start going to. Like, okay, well, and how and when, and no, we're not going to deal with that. We're going to handle this. We're going to handle this in-house. So you'll be able to talk to me about it. And that's one thing that I've always told my children too about drugs, alcohol, and sex. You come to me and ask me.
I want to read this on that note. Mimi says transparency is critical, and know that you have to be ready for the conversations and answers. Don't ask a question that you truly don't want the answer to.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I disagree.
But yeah, you're on the other side of that, Dr.
I disagree. Yeah, because I've told another one of my godchildren's mom, you have those conversations. If you ain't ready, you better put your game face on, run to the bathroom and scream in the bathroom when the conversation is over, but you have the conversation. Because they're going to, and I think I've even told that to Tabitha, because they're going to come to you with them. And so whether you're ready for the conversation or not, guess what? Your child is. So we need to do this now. Because if you don't get the answer, you're going to get the answer from school, from the kid, and it can be wrong answer.
And I think
there are definitely some boundaries. I'd like to answer that one.
Yes, please.
What you say?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so he says
we're jumping on his comments.
Right.
Good.
I feel like if your kids are your friends, there should be some boundaries. There are definitely boundaries.
Oh, trust me, they don't disrespect me.
Right. I was about to say, you know, with Nancy and her kids, with Tabitha and her kids, we can play, laugh, and your kids have to know
when the tone switches.
The way you speak of your mother, it seems like you all even have a great relationship where you know how far you can play with your mom before you stop saying, okay, I got to stop. Because if I say one more word,
Mama Helen will slap him upside his head.
Right. She's going to turn
into a mom. And I believe she would to this day.
Right.
Oh, I do too.
There are definitely boundaries. I mean, even growing up with my mom, and my mom's old school, we just said she's 81. we would for one of the instances, Nancy and I would play with my mom's name. We would call her mom all the time. Don't get me wrong, that was our respect.
Yes.
But my mom never let us call another adult by their first name.
Oh, no.
As we got older and became teenagers, we would play with my mom sometimes. And she'd be like, if we're in the store, she'd be like, Nancy, and we'll holler back, Lurleen, or something like that, because she knew we were playing. You know,
Right.
It was a playing thing.
But if her tone changed,
her grandchildren right now, if they go see her and haven't seen her in a while, they'll be like, hey, Lurleen. And she'll be like, I'm not Lurleen, I'm your grandma. And but they know they can play with her until she goes, wait a minute.
yeah,
I need to go in there and get that out the kitchen. And then that's grandmama then.
yeah,
Yeah.
Not Lurleen anymore. That turns back to so yeah, you can be friends and play with your children, but they still need to know when that tone change or when that eye look a different way, cut it out.
cut it
Yeah.
out.
Absolutely.
I want to spend our next 15 minutes on my last question because Melanie, of course, being the multinational mogul that she is, she has a conference call at 8 p.m. So I have to be timely.
I do. I'm sorry.
Maybe a month or two ago, I saw someone post on Facebook, and I actually shared it, and I was like, "Wow!" A lot of stuff that I see on Facebook, I look at it, laugh, or ponder on in a moment, and it's gone. But this one thing stuck with me, and it's still with me to this day. And it said, and I'm going to put it up here now, along with the question. And I want to start with Tabitha first. The meme said, instead of exchanging gifts for Christmas, some of us need to exchange apologies. And it was in reference to family members. And I thought that was real deep.
That is.
And this month, in All in the Family Month, one of the things that keeps coming up in our conversations, Tabitha, is the fact that a lot of family stuff gets swept under the rug. And it's that what happens in this house stays in this house. And I'm with that. I'm for that. But I'm also knowing that there's a lot of hurt, emotional pain that happens in the house. Yeah. Right? So and so whoever it comes from, whether it's from parent to child to parent, brother to sister, whatever. My question is in relation to parents and children, because we are talking about parents overstepping their boundaries, and a lot of times they do, and it hurts the child. The adult child is hurt, and my question, Tabitha, why does it seem so hard to get parents to apologize to their children?
Wow. So I think this is going to turn into a multi-person answer.
I'm ready.
No, seriously, because I have to be honest. I guess I'm fortunate in that I wasn't put in that particular circle. I can't think of anything that I'm saying, okay, my mother or some things that, my parents needed to apologize to me for. I don't know if it's just that, teacher student thing that is just, I don't know, that experience of, I don't want to go into that place in which I was so wrong, which I think is why it's so important to build the type of relationship early. And while we were talking about transparency, if you have that from the beginning, your child can express themselves from a place of respect. And then you can own something if you hear them clearly, because especially the kids of this day, they're experiencing things that we've never experienced. They're in atmospheres that we haven't, come from. So we can always put a child in a child's place and all of that. But when they're really speaking from their heart, we owe that to them to hear them out and to own it if there is something that we need to own in that regard. And I think we have to check ourselves. We can still be a parent and just say, okay, well, you know what? That's where maybe I didn't see it all. So that one, that's kind of a shaky question for me. Like I said, I've seen this circumstance before. Like, my dad has been here and gone. And I remember I had a college situation with him, and I was so upset at the way he handled it. But he held that particular type of authority that I couldn't dare go to him about it. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, he's gone, and I'm like, man, I really wish he'd still done that. But I don't see him as the type of person that would have come back to me and said, I'm sorry. That's just the school that they came from. Right. I'm the parent. And if I tell you to put a horse on backwards, that's what you're going to do. You know what I mean? If I tell you to hit the horse on backwards, that's just the way it's going to be. So I think that's the mindset where a parent doesn't want to come back and say, okay, well, maybe I was wrong in that regard. You know, I mean, they even have that in relationships with each other, meaning the parent to parent. So, you know, coming to a kid, it could be difficult. I mean, I'm open to hearing what the ladies have to say in that regard, but you know, I'm a little tired there.
I like Bishop Huggins. I follow your friend Bishop Huggins. His comment is cute.
He's hilarious. John and Tammy says they think that it's pride, and I agree with that too. And I also want to come to Nancie and Melanie too with this. I think that there is a pride issue there, and also I think that for some, depending on the relationship though of the parent and child, I think that if a child is hurt, I believe that there is some fear there that whereas the adult child even could possibly be afraid to go to their parents and say, yo, you hurt me.
Yeah.
Nancie, go.
Go.
I think that, again, as we are, that is so funny. I think that, again, as we're talking about this, or as we're looking at this question, we have to remember that there are multiple layers to this response. And the reason why I say that is because, just as Tabitha said, our parents came from a different time, just like this is another time. And I think that people parent according to the way they've been parented. Yeah, we take a few things out, we add a few things in, but we do the best we can. Parenting, I don't care how many different books have been written. Parenting really doesn't come with a manual. It doesn't tell us how to handle this child or how to handle that child. And every child has their own makeup, their own temperament, you know what I'm saying? Their own behavior, their own attitudes, their own issues, their own responses, the way of thinking. You know, while Tammy's on here talking, she's a mom of 3. All 3 of her girls think differently. The baby is the worst. No, I'm playing. She's going to do her own thing. But each child is different. And so our response to each child, and that can send one person into a whole lot of different ways if they don't know how to handle it and harness it all and manage it. And so a lot of times when we're saying issues, these apologies, people don't know what they're apologizing about. Yeah. They honestly don't know what they're apologizing about, or they don't understand why they were wrong. So to get the apology, a lot of times you can't. And for single moms or broken homes, a lot of times you have to even remind the child that the other parent still loves them. If that parent's fallen short, they're just loving them or parenting them the best way they knew how. Why? Because their home was probably broken as well, and they never got the apology. So, you know, that's a huge issue, and you start dealing with the family, and you have to peel back some layers. You know, have some conversation. And then the parent would have to then apologize, understanding that now they're validating the feelings. Because let's say I yell at Kiara, but Kiara doesn't think she was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't think I was wrong because I yelled at you because you did what you did. Well, now I've got to validate Kiara's feelings because she got upset because I yelled at her. But now she's got to be able to understand why I yelled at her, or at least have some idea. But it's a whole lot to it. It can begin to be a bit much.
I want Melanie to take this comment.
I see both of them.
From Mimi.
I see Mimi's comment, and I seen Tammy's comment, and I agree with both of them. I mean, you do. I believe that parents do have that feeling of, I don't owe you an apology. I'm the parent. This is what I said. This is what, like Tab used a minute ago about putting the horse on the back. Yeah, that's what her father thought was the best way, so he went with it. I don't owe you an apology just because you got down here and we learned that you should have put it on right. I went with what I thought was best for you as my child. And so that's the
We
I don't
be
owe you
apologizing
forgiveness.
about everything at that point.
Right.
Everything.
And so that's the Mimi statement. And then when Tammy came back, because that was my initial thing, even with the question itself, was be allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Because whether it be a parent with a child or adult to adult, apologizing means that you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to say, hey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said it that way. And like Nancie just used the thing about yelling and how her child would feel about it. Well, she could have been right, but the way you made your child feel, and you're now accepting their feelings, you have to turn around and say, okay, maybe I shouldn't have yelled, but I yelled because I wanted my point to get across. It doesn't make it right, but I wanted you to understand that it was passion and why I told you not to do it this way. I'm sorry, or I apologize for yelling, but you have to be able to be vulnerable, like Tammy said, and then tied into Mimi's, parents feel like, hey, it's what I said, you do it. But now in this day and age, as we're learning and things are changing, and we even have these type of conversations, those that are on Parents Tonight or whatever, walk off from this saying, you know what, maybe I'll go, like Tammy, the 3 young girls, maybe I'll apologize for this. Not that I'm taking back what happened or what I said about it, but maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. I could have said it a different way and got my point across. So it's a matter of being vulnerable.
I set this comment here on purpose because in all this month I have been bringing it up, and I will bring it up once again. Sometimes, and I get this stuff from shows that I watch, and some people that I know personally that are in their 30s, 40s, even, and are still harboring hurt from their parents from when they were a child. They never forgot what they said to me. I never forgot what they did to me. And it still hurts them. 30 years later, they're still hurt from what happened at home that was swept under the rug. Old school or not, I need you to acknowledge that I'm hurt. Toxicity triggers down. I agree with that. Tammy says family therapy.
And you know what, Pastor Will?
If you don't know, you don't know. So does it make it right? No. Does it make what?
I hear you, Melanie. Hold
Let
on.
me say this right quick. That you all are saying that, I think it's also culturally based. Because if you actually see our Caucasian counterparts, when their kid, and I'm not agreeing with tantrums, but when their kids fall out or scream or something, they take the time to ask them what's wrong, or they take the time to say,
they do.
Mommy, sorry. What's wrong? Mommy, sorry. What did mommy do?
That's true.
What did daddy do that made you upset? So I think for our culture, it's always been, it's very rigorous. We have a rigorous culture. It's what I said, it's what you do, it's this, the status. So we're very authoritative in our culture.
Authority. I agree.
So I think sometimes our apologies, and even what the young lady just said about it being pushed down and toxic and you need to know I'm hurt, that's what it triggered in my mind, is that our culture is more authoritative in that versus, like I said, our other counterparts are more what's wrong.
That's true.
And we'll sit there and look at them like, why are you asking your kid what's wrong? Why are you apologizing?
Yeah.
Because they're doing what we should be doing, being vulnerable enough to say, mommy did wrong. What happened? What did I do to you? You know, so
at the same time holding that parent-child relationship. And I think that's where the balance needs to happen, and that's where it goes left one time. I'll say this real quick because I know we're short on time. A lesson that I experienced with my own daughter, I said something to her, and we were talking about something, and I guess I kind of dismissed it, something that she was saying, and it was like, I went to the back and I was like, okay, what's going on with you? What's the problem or whatever? And she said, I listened to her. She told me, she said, okay, what you said, that particular thing that hurt me. I didn't like that. That hurt me. But she was speaking from a place of hurt. It wasn't an attitude or nothing like that. She was just legitimately telling me, how that impacted her, the way I dismissed what she said. The lesson that I got in that, I said, okay, I recognize that, I get that. But what I want the takeaway to be with this is the same way you express yourself to me, I want you to express yourself like that to your friend. Because I don't want you to come short and be timid with them because, like she said, how things trigger down, that toxicity toxicity.
Toxicity.
I got
So, you know what I'm trying to say? That dirt, it comes down and it trickles down, right? And so when you interact with other people, you may be timid for that very reason because you didn't learn how to express yourself in that way. So that was my lesson to her. Make sure you know how to express yourself to other people, just like you just expressed yourself to me. I honor what you just did. So I want you to be able to do that with other people too. Because don't check me, you can't shake your friend.
I really, really, really wish that we could keep going with this because I got more questions. I promise I do.
I'm about to say
my show is from 7 to 8. And that's what it's
going to John goes away doesn't mean anything. We know John only
So what I will ask, because I do, and I save all of these videos, ladies and gentlemen, and I really want to dig into Danielle's comment and Pastor Greg's question. I can't do it tonight.
that question.
So here is what I'm going to ask. My December is already booked, of course, well, with the exception of the last 2 weeks because I'm rebroadcasting. So, whoa, wait a minute, stop everything. My apostles are on. Hello. Hey, apostles.
Hey, apostles.
They are also two of my biggest supporters, and I appreciate them so very much. So, yes, part 2. I'm going to ask you, some people I just put on the spot, and I'm going to ask you guys live right here tonight if you would like to come back in January. I would love to have you guys back because those last 2 comments that were on the screen are really, really heavy.
They are
really heavy, and I want to deal with those. And I want you guys to come back. You all are great guests. So Jayhawk says, I want to be on the next show topic. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
One, those are our apostles, Will. 2, I'm booked and busy.
Okay. You'll be back. I'll let y'all know when they'll be back. It'll be in January in the new year. Praise the Lord. So I want to thank every one of you guys that are watching. If you're watching on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, thank you so much. Again, those of you that are watching the replay, we appreciate you as well. Thank you to all of you all for your wonderful comments and to these fabulous, fabulous guests, Dr. Nancie, Tabitha Johnson, and Melanie Stewart. Thank you, ladies, so much. You all do not forget, every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. right here on Facebook Live, you can find the book with these ladies every Wednesday night at 7
Taking a break tomorrow for the holiday.
Well, tomorrow, y'all going to re-air something, or you just going
to? We're just going to take a break. Everybody have time with their families. Catch up on TV shows, John.
Okay.
He's probably got a list of them already prepared.
Right. So again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys. All of y'all in the comments. There's a lot of y'all. Hey, there's so many of them. But we're gonna come back. I'm gonna bring these ladies back in January. You all will be abreast to when that happens. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime.
All right, guys. This is Self-Checkout, where we take an honest look at what's in our hearts and minds and spirits. And I will see you next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
That was fun.
That was.